Welcome back. We're talking today with our special guest, Nashville Mayor Megan Barry. Welcome back, guys.
Thanks.
Now, in your first 100 days, which we're well past now, but people love to evaluate leaders on their first 100 days in office. I know you got a lot accomplished, but the meetings that you had, I wanted to touch on. I know you met with the Republican leadership of the state. How did those meetings go? Were you able to find common ground? Do you think there's ways in which you guys can work together?
Well, I think it's really important for the mayor of Nashville to make sure that you have the relationships up on the state hill, or on the hill. And so one of the first things that I did when they came back to town is I actually welcomed all the legislators. We did a little event for them, mostly because I think I just wanted them to see me and meet me.
Sure.
And there was a lot of the, you don't really have horns. So I think I mean, I'm not saying that we're always going to agree on everything, but it's a lot easier to work together if you have a relationship.
Completely agree. It's harder to say no when you have a face.
That's exactly right.
Exactly. Another thing I'm interested in, because there's only so many hours in a day, but I know you get so many requests for your time, and we've seen you out and about in so many places. How do you prioritize and decide which ones you're able to do, because you can't do everything?
Well, that's true. I mean, I rely a lot on my staff to help me decide where are the events that I need to be, what part of town do I need to be in today. And Patrick Hamilton is my scheduler, and Patrick is amazing. So he spins all of these places for me to be, and I get to go and do lots of really cool things.
Well, thank him for getting you here today. He and Sean were great at working this out.
Sure.
So what are some of the biggest challenges you think Nashville faces as a city right now? I know you ran on like 3 big pillars, and if you want to touch on those, that's great. But what are the biggest challenges that you also face as just a mayor?
Sure. I mean, first of all, let me just say we're in a really good place.
Yeah.
I get the chance to meet with a lot of other mayors from around the United States, and they would love to be the mayor of Nashville. We have such a special community.
Yeah.
But transportation, education, and affordable housing. I mean, it hasn't changed. And all of those are tied to continuing to invest in our economic development and keeping that engine going while making sure that we stay this warm and welcoming place that everybody wants to come to.
Which I would think that is a huge challenge. I mean, we see, affordable housing, obviously, so very important, but we see, so much growth in the building.
Right.
And some people say, some of the building that's going on, obviously, is not going to be affordable. Where do you find the balance?
Well, that is absolutely up to the mayor's office to try to create those tools to incent developers to be more deliberate in building affordable housing. And we've been working very closely with the Metro Council on some legislation that would give tools to builders and to the development community, and that's still a work in progress. So in the meantime, though, we just made an announcement. We have some surplus property that we identified, and we're working with some nonprofit entities to create some affordable housing on them.
Well,
so
you read my mind. I was going to that next question.
Yeah.
There, I think, 13 properties or so that were. How did that come about? Is that to me that was something that would seem kind of a no-brainer, if you will.
Well, first it took some state legislation.
Exactly.
So there's all these laws at the state that you sometimes have to navigate that you don't even realize exist. But once they kind of did that for us and paved the way, our goal was to say, how can we take these and benefit Nashvillians?
Sure.
One of the things, too, I'm really excited about this. You've taken a different approach to Metro's budget by asking for a 3-year plan instead of just 12 months. So kind of what inspired that?
Well, coming in from the business world, you're never just always looking at a 12-year or 12-month budget. You are trying to plan long term, and I want us to be much more thoughtful about how we're doing our planning for the city.
Well, that makes complete sense, and you've also, you ran, like you were saying, on transportation, and there was just recently that new 25-year transportation plan adopted at $1.2 billion. It's a lot of money. The governor has said that he would like to see the state help, but doesn't have the answers. How do you see them best providing any help, and what do you see maybe the best path going forward there is? Because obviously we have to work together in this regard.
Well, we do, and the benefit is that as the mayor, I actually sit on multiple regional boards, so the MPO, the RTA, the Mayor's Caucus, and the one conversation we're all having is transportation. And it doesn't matter if you are a Democrat or a Republican, all of these mayors want us to solve the transit problem and come up with solutions.
Well, it also doesn't matter what you are when you've got to get to work either.
That's right. You want that corridor to be something you can get down easily.
Now, in our next segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the entertainment and where Nashville figures in that equation. But sports is also a huge part of the equation. So kind of tell me your feelings on where you want to see Nashville moving as a sports city.
We have got great sports teams now. I think our next opportunity is to talk about soccer. Soccer is the largest growing sport in the United States. A lot of the new folks who come to Nashville play soccer, and so that's, I think, where I'm looking next.
I'm excited to hear that. It was the only sport that I could even feasibly play in high school.
Well, you know, and we've got the women's soccer coming.
Sure.
So, I mean, we've got a lot of great things going on.
Cool. Now, I wanted to touch on this too, because I know youth violence is an important issue to you as well,
yes.
not just the 3 pillars we talked about earlier. And I know that you just recently had these 4 sort of youth summits. I don't think the results are back yet, but explain to me why and how that came about, and what the summits were looking to find.
Sure. So we've targeted different age groups for different summits. We've got one more, and then my team will come back to me with a set of recommendations. But the target is because we have youth dying at the hands of other youth.
Right.
And that one death is way too many. And so I will tell you the one thing that was said at one of our recent meetings, where this one kid said, "You as adults ask us to walk on a tightrope, but you don't provide us a safety net." So for us, my team is saying, what's the safety net? How do we connect kids to hope and hope to jobs? I mean, that's really where we're trying to focus.
Right, because youth violence is one particular sliver, but
it's a whole big piece.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I would also think too, like as mayor, you see things that you want to change, you know, with the city and that kind of thing, and the state too, and how Nashville plays into that.
Sure.
Though, what are some of the things that you would like to see changed that you see as a big challenge for whatever reason?
Well, you know, again, thinking of these as opportunities, I would love for us to focus a lot more on dollars flowing in for education. And Governor Haslam has spent a lot of energy on the post-secondary experience. I'd like to see us putting money into pre-K.
Okay.
And that's where I'd like our focus to be.
Now let's talk for just a few minutes about the local hire amendment.
Sure.
Give us an update. Where are we at now? I know we're pre-taping, so we
are pre-taping, but I can already tell you that as of today, both the Senate and the House have passed legislation to kill it.
I see.
It still has to go to the governor's desk. We'll see what he does. But regardless, let's just put that aside. I really believe that the voters of Davidson County charged me with a mission, and we're moving forward to connect people to work. So in the last 5 months, we've brought labor, business, developers, contractors around the table, and I think have come up with a really good plan. So we're going to put Davidson County workers to work, and they're going to get hired on these construction jobs, and that's where we're going.
And that is exciting. All right, well, we are going to have to break for just a bit, but when we return, what part entertainment is playing in Mayor Berry's plans, plus a little game of lightning round Q&A, and you don't want to miss that, so come on back with us.